Historically, having sons have been more attractive than daughters. Yes, in 2014 this is still true. Why is that, and what effects does it have on our world? This couple are going to have a baby. When they went to the hospital, the doctor told them that it is going to be a baby girl. They were not happy with the news and were considering abortion. With today's technology, couples can choose to abort if the fetus is of the wrong sex. In China, this has resulted in alarming misallocation in the sex ratio. Now there are on average 118 men to every 100 women. However, certain regions report ratio of 162 to 100. Sex-selective abortion is not unique to China. This is also common in India, South Korea, and other Asian countries. China found that just 1% increase in sex ratio led to 5% increase in crime rates. Thinking about it and discussing it together, they decided to have the baby anyway. 6 months later, the baby arrived, but going through labor was hard. Every year there are approximately 2 million deaths globally among mothers and newborns that occur at the time of birth. 99% of all maternal deaths occur in developing countries where healthcare is scarce. It is estimated that over $15 billion is lost in productivity due to maternal and newborn death. 10% of all births worldwide are to girls under 20 years. Girls under 15 are 5 times more likely to die in childbirth than adult women. In poor countries, complications from pregnancy and childbirth are the leading cause of death among girls aged 15 to 19. Every day, 800 women die due to pregnancy and childbirth. For every woman that dies there are approximately 20 other women that suffer injuries and infections which can lead to lifelong suffering. Maria is now 5 years old, and her mother told her that it is time for her to get circumcised. Women are circumcised due to cultural and religious motives, such as being accepted by the society and to prevent sexual lusts. The procedure is usually performed between the ages of 4 to 8 years. It is rarely done by any medically trained person or with any anesthetics, which results in great risk for serious injuries. 135 million women across the world are circumcised, and 6,000 girls are undergoing the procedure daily. It is common in several African countries, Middle East, and certain parts of Asia. Female circumcision is not required or supported in any religious texts. A year later, Maria was finally old enough to attend school. Unfortunately, the education is not granted to everyone, especially when it comes to girls. Since girls are valued less than boys in many countries, they are not prioritized when it comes to education. When girls receive education, they are less likely of marrying early and against their will, and educated women are more likely to send their own kids to school. It is estimated that if all girls had secondary education in sub-Saharan Africa and Southwest Asia, child marriage would fall by 64%. There are several barriers for girls to receive education: the cultural norm, school fees, unsecure environment, or even a tax against female education. When Maria is turning 12, she is noticing that many of her girlfriends are getting married and not going to school anymore. Every year, 15 million girls under 18 are married as children. If nothing is being done, predictions are that by 2030, approximately 15.4 million girls will be married as children. In the developing countries, 1 in 9 girls are married before she turns 15, some as young as 8 or 9 years. Child marriage occurs due to traditions, gender roles, poverty, and security reasons. Neither physically nor emotionally ready to be wives or mothers, girls are at a greater risk of having complications during pregnancy and childbirth, being infected with HIV, or suffering from domestic violence. Due to lack of education and economic opportunities, they are more likely to live in poverty. Maria's parents often worry about her and want her to never walk alone. Worldwide, nearly 1 out of 5 women and 1 out of 71 men experience sexual harassment at some point in their lives. Looking at the official figures of reported rapes in the world, it is easy to see that this issue does not only affect developing countries. However, statistics don't tell the whole truth. Overall, around 80% of women in the world do not report rape or sexual harassment. It does vary between different countries, where the ratio of reported rapes is higher in developed countries. In India, on average, 92 women are raped every day, which gives an understanding why 95% of women and girls feel unsafe in public spaces in Delhi. Maria asks her mother why she never worked during her childhood. The lack of childcare is also a problem that are preventing women from entering the workforce. A study done in the UK states how the cost of childcare is a barrier to working more or working at all. In urban India, just 1 in every 4 women goes out to work, with social attitudes and lack of opportunities partly to blame. But shortages of good childcare also means that many women don't have any option but to stay at home to care for their children. Maria has now graduated from her education and is looking for a job which turns out not to be as easy as she first thought. In Asia, women still remain the largest group facing discrimination in terms of employment opportunities and wage gaps. Furthermore, 2/3 of all employed women in South Asia are working without payment. Limited access to education, training, and resources such as land or credit further impair their equal opportunities to access to non-caste-based occupations and decent work. Failure to integrate women fully into the workforce is costing the Asia-Pacific region about $89 billion a year in unrealized output. By 2020, there will be about 865 million women worldwide who aren't contributing to the economy as much as they could. About 94% are in emerging and developing countries. Maria looked into the Asian market as she had heard they were growing quickly. The industry is growing rapidly in Asia. In China, all segments will experience growth in a decade, and the hotel penetration rate indicates that the market is not mature but rather growing. China's hospitality market will be or is the most important market for global operators as room supply continues to grow and players broaden their portfolio with more brands. The demand in India is also growing rapidly, and the contribution to the GDP is expected to grow 7.8% yearly until 2023. Finally, Maria managed to get a job. But it was not just any job. She got it at a hotel in Europe. She wondered what it would be like as a woman living in Europe, because she had heard that some countries there even had benefits such as paid parental leave. The Global Gender Gap Report was introduced in 2006 and benchmarks national gender gaps in 142 countries on economic, political, education, and health-based criteria. In 2014, all the Nordic countries were placed in top 5. These countries have closed over 80% of the gender gap, where everyone has equal opportunities in, for example, healthcare and education, which creates a stability for the people. How come the Nordic countries are doing so well, and what are the benefits of being more gender equal? These countries have a high female labor force participation, meaning that more people are working and contributing to the society. These countries have made it possible for both parents to combine work and family. They have a better work-life balance for both women and men through more shared participation in childcare and more equitable distribution of labor at home. They also have several beneficial policies which lowers the opportunity costs of having children. So what are the benefits of being gender equal? A recent study on the hospitality industry states that more gender-diverse business units have better financial outcomes than those dominated by one gender. Gender-diverse businesses within hospitality show 19% higher average quarterly net profit compared to less diverse businesses. Highly engaged and gender-diverse businesses can have 58% higher net profits compared to single-gendered and less engaged units, meaning that being gender-diverse can give great profits for the business. Men and women have different viewpoints, ideas, and market insights, which enables better problem solving. Together, they are more creative because of their different viewpoints. A gender-diverse workforce also provides easier access to resources. Diversity also allows the company to serve an increasingly diverse customer base. Being gender diverse also helps businesses attract and retain talented women, and with more and more women joining the workforce, this is of great importance. The study even states that companies cannot afford to ignore 50% of the potential workforce and expect to be competitive in the global economy. They suggest that businesses should develop a hiring strategy that increases gender diversity without reducing or ignoring merit. Studies indicate that when women feel that they are hired to fill quotas, it affects the relationship between coworkers negatively, meaning that gender quotas may not be the best solution, even though such goals are often set. So to summarize everything, what are the consequences of this inequality for the hospitality industry? With the hospitality industry expanding into developing countries where problems with gender equality is present, this is highly likely to affect the hospitality businesses. They may struggle to find skilled employees, as many women are not allowed education and is therefore locked out from the labor force, and so not being able to have gender diversity within their businesses. And as we showed previously, a more diverse workforce leads to more creativity and can ultimately lead to better net profits. With the inequality, they may also miss out on potential markets. Women represent approximately 50% of the population, which is a huge market, but the hospitality companies may face challenges approaching these due to this inequality. In countries where the woman is traditionally seen as lower in rank than men, female managers, perhaps coming from abroad to work with newly started units, may face challenges due to these traditions. If female employees feel threatened due to, for example, insecure transportation to and from work, or male colleagues, they are not likely to be as productive at work as they could be. Therefore, gender equality is of greatest importance, and hospitality companies should work actively for better equality in all their units as they expand to more and more countries that are developing and expanding.